Hello everyone, welcome to ChessVisor, your wise choice to improve your chess. In today's video, I'm going to show you the 5 best tricks and traps in the Queen's Gambit and which can be used against low rated players and in addition to that I have included one trap which you can use it against the better player also. And if you are new here, please check the other videos and playlists from the channel, and if you like them, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. So without any further delay, let's get started. So the Queen's Gambit arises after the following move order: pawn to d4, pawn to d5, and here white can play pawn to c4, which offers a pawn as a gambit in the center, and if black takes the pawn, then it is called Queen's Gambit accepted. And white can create the strong pawn duo in the center like this. And in the previous position, after pawn to c4, if black plays d6, then it is Queen's Gambit decline line, and he can play pawn to c6 also in the same position, and that will be called as the slab defense. So anyway, let's check the common or the fundamental traps in the Queen's Gambit accepted line for the beginners. And please note, I have included one trap which can be used against the better player also, so watch this video without skipping or watch this video till the end. So here we should always remember one thing, that whenever your opponent gambits a pawn, you can definitely accept it, and he will have some compensation for the gambit. Because we are spending time to capture the pawn or the piece, he will use the same time to accelerate his development. Similarly, when you have the extra pawn, don't bother about the pawn and concentrate on the development of your pieces and be ready to meet his early attacks. So instead of that, if you think you should hold on to the extra material, then you will be in the big trouble. After accepting the gambit, white has two ways to play the position. One is to pawn to e3 and another one is to play pawn to e4. Both can be played, but first we will check pawn to e3 idea, and then later you will come to understand yourself the difference between pawn to e3 and pawn to e4. So after this simple move, white wants to regain his pawn with a development move, and here most of the novice players will try to hold this pawn as they have the extra pawn. Then, as I said earlier, black will be in big trouble, because after b5 white can play a4 challenging the pawn. If pawn to a6, then white can win the game immediately, because we can simply take on b5. Black cannot recapture because of the relative pin on the rook. If he captures, then he will lose the rook like this. So going back, if he defends with the other pawn like c6, then again white can take the pawn, and after black recapture, we can trap the rook by queen f3. And if black has to defend the rook, then he has to give up any one of the minor pieces from the queen side. So, and in the end, white is clearly winning like this. So let's go back and check the other possibilities. So in this position, if black thinks he could try with bishop to d7 to defend, here again we can capture the pawn like this. After black takes on b5, we can develop our queen knight and hit the bishop. And here again, it's better to play bishop to d7 and give up the c4 pawn. But if black thinks again he can defend or hold the position with bishop a6, then again it's game over for black. So let's see how. We can simply capture the bishop with our rook, and once the knight recaptures the rook, we can pick up the knight like this. And the other option for white to play queen f3 like in the previous variation. So we are attacking the rook, so he has to defend with a c6, and then white can capture the bishop like this. After knight takes a6, then queen takes c6 check. Queen has to block the check. Then after queen takes a8, queen again has to come back and defend the check like this. Then again queen c6 check, and finally we can take the knight like this, and again black is completely lost. And it is an easy win for white straight out of the opening. So all of these variations are clearly says that we cannot save the pawn, or we cannot hold the extra pawn in the opening. Or in other words, we should not waste the time on holding the extra material in the opening. Rather, we should develop the required pieces. So let's check some traps when black develops his pieces. So after accepting the gambit, white plays pawn to e3 to regain the pawn, and here black plays knight f6. After that, we can simply take the pawn. So bishop takes c4. Here black has many good responses, but we are going to check the one particular move, that is pawn to g6. Here black is simply trying to feint out the bishop on g7. For this, we can try the following tricky moves, and please be aware that these moves are not main moves. So after knight f3, black can play bishop g7, and here comes our first trick. So we can give this premature queen check, that is queen a4 check. Again, here black has many responses, but only one response will save the black's position. So we will first check all the trap lines and then we will check the right move for black. So here, if black plays bishop to d7, I think there are five responses. I would like to mention the five responses first, and then we will check. We will be checking the each one of them one by one. So bishop to d7, knight to c6, queen to d7, knight b d7, and finally c6. So let's check the first one. So bishop to d7. Then we can simply play queen b3, forming this small battery, and we can win either one of the pawns. And if required, we can even play knight to e5 to increase the pressure in the. We can simply increase the pressure on f7 or to capture the bishop. And going back, if not bishop to d7, if black plays knight c6, which runs into a self pinning, we can simply attack the knight for the second time by knight to e5. And not only that, we are also attacking the f7 again. So white is completely better here. So going back, if black plays queen to d7, then we can win the game immediately by playing the stunning bishop sacrifice on f7. So after king takes f7, then we can fork the king and the queen. So that is not possible for black to play. So if king is not accepting the sacrifice, he could try king to d8. In that case, we can simply exchange the queens, and also we can simply or simplify into a winning endgame. So that concludes queen to d7. So going back, if black plays knight b d7, again we can sacrifice our bishop on f7. If king e f8, then bishop b3. White is better because black lost the pawn and also the castling rights. So let's say king accepts the sacrifice, then we can play this beautiful knight check on g5, and we reach the position which you saw in the thumbnail. So for this, actually black has three responses, but none of them are going to save the black's position. So if king goes to the home square, then we can smother the black queen like this. I mean, the queen is trapped. If king goes to f8, again we are going to win the queen by means of fork like this. If he tries to go to g8, then he is getting checkmated in 4 moves. So after queen to c4 check, knight to d5, queen takes knight check, e6, queen takes e6 check, finally king f8, then queen to f7 is a checkmate. And it's only 12th move of the game. So let's go back and check the right move for black. Here after this premature queen check on a4, black can play c6, which is very simple move, and in fact it is the right move and it diffuses everything. And in fact, again black is threatening to fork the bishop and the queen, so that means queen has to move again. So let's say queen goes to b3 or c2, and if you look at this position carefully, white is okay and black is also okay. But it's worth to try these tricks and traps in the fast games. So thanks very much for watching this video till the end. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon to get notified for the future videos. And don't forget to share with others. And now you can check the chess tricks and traps in Punziani opening and also the entire chess trick playlist. Both are available on the screen right now. So as usual, this is Chess Visor, your wise choice to improve your chess.